Giants are standing at a crossroads yet again. It's simple. They either draft a quarterback because, they don't have one, or they grab the best player available and just figure out the quarterback thing later. Let's be honest, the Giants aren't a quarterback away from competing. They're not even a Pro Bowl quarterback away from competing. Their offensive line allowed pressure on 38% of all pass plays last season. That's top 5 worst in the NFL. Not a list you want to be on. So what happens if Cam and Shador are gone by the time the Giants are on the clock? Well, that's when it gets weird. But before I begin, I'd really appreciate it if you drop a like and subscribe. It only takes 5 seconds, plus you can always change your mind later. My name's Tyler Carmona, I'm a writer for Sports Illustrated, and I play wide receiver at Savannah State, and today we're fixing the New York Giants. Before we even get to the draft talk, there's something to address here. Aaron Rodgers might end up on the Giants. He wasn't exactly elite last season, but I don't think we got a fair look at him. He was just running behind that terrible offensive line. I don't think that's a fair way to judge a quarterback. Regardless, if Rodgers ends up in New York, that team's entire trajectory just changes overnight. For better or for worse, this becomes his team. Moving on to the draft talk, let's just get this out of the way. If Ward and Sanders go 1 and 2, whether it's the Titans, the Browns, whoever else trades up, the Giants are 100% better off taking Travis Hunter. I get it, he's not a quarterback. You line him up with Pro Bowl wide receiver Malik Nabors, and you got Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot. That's a wide receiver room that can actually do something. And let's be real, drafting a rookie quarterback and just throwing him behind that O-line is pretty irresponsible. Maybe you grab a veteran free agent to just hold things down, fix the O-line, and maybe you keep an eye on guys like Arch Manning or Lenora Sellers in the draft. Or if the Giants manage to build a somewhat competent roster, maybe a future free agent like Baker Mayfield or CJ Stroud looks and says, hey, New York doesn't look so bad anymore. Reaching for a quarterback when you don't have to, that's not bold, that's just how you stay bad forever.
Jaxson Dart at 3, Charles Davis. At the end of the college football season, if you would have told me he'd be a first-round pick, I'd be like, I don't really see it. The 3rd overall pick in the draft. I know sometimes teams reach on quarterbacks because it's the most important position not only in the NFL but sports, but go take me through how you thought up of this one for the Giants at 3.
So first of all, as soon as this thing got released yesterday, the first text I got was from my son.
What did he say? Dad, what the heck are you doing?
He didn't even go that far. He just said, Dart at 3, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question. He was wondering if the old man had slipped a cog. Then it started to come in from other people. Dart at 3? And no one said, wow, that's a bold choice. Everyone was like, what are you thinking? Even people that like Jaxson Dart came in and said, way too high. And I get all of that. I said, what if the Jets take him at 7? You more comfortable there? Because people have talked about that. That's been discussed. That's out there already. I said, what's the difference between 3 and 7? When you really get down to it. If you like a player, you go get him now. The reason I brought this up, and let's be honest, you know that when you do a mock draft, especially your first one, it is not necessarily, this is exactly what I believe, but you want to have something that's somewhat plausible and thought-provoking. Now, a lot of people would question the plausible part, but I do not.
Jaxson Dart, 3rd overall. Jaxson Dart, the Ole Miss quarterback, number 3. Look, Dart is fine, he's got an arm, he's mobile, but 3rd overall? Now, if he's still sitting there early in the 2nd round, sure, that's a conversation. The Giants pick early in the 2nd, so taking a shot then, totally reasonable. But Dart at 3 over Travis Hunter? Come on. You look at the later rounds, there's Kyle McCord, Dylan Gabriel floating around there too. There's value down the board, so you don't have to throw a Hail Mary with your top 5 pick. And last but not least, there's also the possibility of either moving up or moving down. The Giants are in a pretty solid position if they want to move into that top 2 just because they have the number 3 pick, they have an early 2nd round pick, and an extra 3rd round pick. You also look at the possibility of trading down. We mentioned the Giants may be getting a little desperate and going for Jaxson Dart. That's also a possibility with plenty of other teams. Besides Dart, there's also guys like Abdul Carter, Mason Graham, Will Campbell from LSU that at times they've even been projected as the number 1 overall pick. So if any of these teams needs a particular guy at that position, the Giants are in a spot where they can maybe move back a couple of picks and possibly also pick in that 1st round. So maybe you can also get Travis Hunter and possibly add an offensive lineman, somebody on the interior to build up the core of that team. If Cam or Shador fall to the Giants at 3, you get your guy, you move forward. But if they're gone, just draft Travis Hunter. Build a roster, you fix the O-line, you make this a place where a quarterback actually wants to come to. The only thing worse than not having a franchise quarterback is forcing a pick and guaranteeing you still won't have one next year. The draft clock's ticking, the Giants are on the verge of either building something real or making the kind of mistake that puts them in the top 5 yet again.